Thanks, Ms. Hoffman. I now recognize myself for 5 minutes of questions. Ms. Manfra, I want to start with you. You mentioned Einstein and CDM in your testimony and the role that they play in securing federal networks. So I want to give you an opportunity to provide some public clarity on the implementation of CDM specifically. So can you give us some idea of how many departments and agencies have fully implemented CDM Phase 1, and how many agency dashboards are up and running? Is the DHS dashboard up and running? And give us some perspective on that.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the question. CDM, we are in the process of deploying both Phase 1 and Phase 2. Phase 1 being focused on hardware, software, asset management, sort of identifying what is on the networks internal to the agencies, and Phase 2 looking at who's on the network, so dealing with issues like access and identity management. We can get back to you with the specific numbers of agency deployment. They are all in various stages of deployment. We have made it available to all agencies, but each individual agency is in a specific different stages of deploying. We are nearing 20 agencies that have an agency dashboard up and running, and this month the Department of Homeland Security will be standing up the federal dashboard, so that will be receiving feeds from those agency dashboards. That will then allow us to have more near real-time understanding of that sensor, what those sensors are identifying on those agency networks, and allow us to better prioritize vulnerability management for agencies.
Terrific, thanks. So one of the other points I wanted to cover today was last week the GAO came out with a fairly critical report on the current state of federal cybersecurity. One of the most, what appeared to be at least troubling aspects of that was a statistic that said only 7 of the 24 CFO Act agencies have programs with any functions considered effective per the NIST standards for cybersecurity control. So that doesn't sound very good. I want to give either you, Mr. Krebs, or you, Ms. Manfra, the opportunity to, as we talk about the cybersecurity posture of the .gov, reconcile that with that GAO report.
Sir, I think that we've learned a lot over the years about agency capacity to manage cybersecurity risks and the resources they have to do so. I can say that agencies have prioritized the management of their cyber risk at their highest level across the government. What we have learned in both the deployment of CDM, our engagement in partnership with ONB in measuring agencies, is that there remain some significant gaps, and we have built over the last couple of years and are continuing to build technical assistance capabilities, things like design and engineering, architecture reviews, helping agencies getting much more in-depth insight into their networks and providing them with a greater level of assistance, both engineering and on the governance side, to help them address their often very complicated networks with the limited resources we have. But we do see a lot of potential for CDM in the ability to deliver tools at a lower cost across agencies, and this is the first time that many agencies have had access to this level of automated data to understand what is on their network. And so we see a lot of potential for this, but for many agencies there is a lot of capability that has to be built, and we're continuing to take advantage of things like shared service, more capability from DHS to deploy to agencies who need it most.
So you just you comment about shared services and resources. I want to follow up on that a bit, because I think it's important to look where we are, but also look to where we're going. And so looking forward a bit, how do you see DHS's federal network protection tools evolving past, say, signature-based threat detection tools, and particularly where my conversations with the administration and the cybersecurity advisors to the president really putting an emphasis on cloud computing and shared IT services and resources. So I guess in a sense, what does Einstein, future generations, Einstein 10.0 look like?
Well, sir, I'm not exactly sure what Einstein 10.0 will look like yet, but I can tell you where we're looking to evolve. As agencies and the president's key initiative around modernizing our IT, and that's not just the technology. There are large challenges with legacy technology, but we also need to modernize the way we govern and procure IT services within the government. As we do that, we're working very closely to modernize our security processes. So as we take advantage of things like cloud services, we ensure that we are modernizing our security approach, but also not losing the insight that we have into traffic, either traversing internal to networks or in and out of agency networks. Importantly, we have learned on CDM some key lessons from the first phases of deployment. We now have a new contract vehicle in place that will enable the deployment of cloud and mobile security technologies in addition to the on-premise sensing capability that we have right now. So we are evolving, and we are building on what industry is learning from behavioral-based detection methods, and we have had some successful pilots, and we look forward to continuing to build that capability.
Terrific. Thanks very much. My time's expired. Chair now recognizes Mr. Richmond for his questions.